So, our gospel story today offers a great deal of comfort to many people, particularly at the time when we are planning for someone's funeral, because we hear these very famous words of Jesus has prepared a place for us, and that Jesus knows where that is, and we don't need to worry about it because we hear kind of the echo of last week's that Jesus knows. We will know Jesus' voice, and Jesus will call us, and we will be there in this place of glory and wholeness and truth. All we need to do is follow Jesus' voice to get us there. And so we talked, it makes me think a lot about Jesus preparing a spiritual place for us, and us asking ourselves that harder question of how are we preparing a place for Jesus in our spiritual lives. And because I think so often that when those two come together, that when we can create space that is open for God and that God can fill it, we are in that place that we do live in the way and the truth and what is true life, the abundant life that Jesus calls us to. So I think throughout our lives, sometimes we need to create new places for us, for our spiritual nourishment and our place of opening to God. And so I have something in mind, and I want you to walk with me today, and maybe you can explore it with me and give me some ideas and think about it, how it might fit into your life as well. So I want us to start right now by looking at the home altar that I created. And I did it during Holy Week because I wanted a place that would center me during the really rich times of planning for worship. And as you will see, it changes. Every day when I come out here, this looks different than it did when I set it up this morning, because we've had chipmunks or squirrels or birds or whatever. So we have some birds who've already eaten a lot of food, and yet we have some that is still left, some that is still waiting. But it's important for me with my own spiritual place that when I am in a place that I am being nourished by God, I want that to go forth and radiate forth and nourish something else or someone else. And so this is a way of me being in relationship with the woods that are around us. So I'm going to put that down for right now, and I'm going to ask that you come. What I'd like to do this summer, particularly since I'll probably be home so much more than any other summer, is to create a labyrinth. And I want to do it way back out in the woods because I don't want to be able to see any house or see other people, because it needs to be a really safe place. So I'm wondering where your safe place is and where you have created or what you can do this summer to create a place where you can feel that you can open yourself to that space that can hold and then radiate out the holy. So let's take a walk. Let's go on back down this path that we have. And as you probably will see around, finally, the woods have gotten green. The leaves coming out, the moss is breaking, and all our low-growing blueberry bushes are actually coming forth. So suddenly, spring is here, and it feels very alive, even though it's very windy and cool day right now. So when I first come here, on my way back to on my pilgrimage, where I'm going to set this, I look over here because a couple years ago, that's where my meditation cushion was, and I would spend time and I would come out here. So part of finding our new place is knowing where we have been fed and nourished before. And so I remember many times sitting on my meditation cushion, lighting the candle and really allowing myself to settle into the space and into the quiet of the woods. But that was before, so let's go on and figure out where we're going to do this next. A few years ago, I had this idea about a labyrinth, and we were clearing out some beds to make some flower beds, and we came upon these stones. And when I was thinking about it this week, I'm thinking, the letter from Peter talks about us becoming living stones, about allowing ourselves to be built into a spiritual house, which is really very different than us building a spiritual house. But how can we, as we take these pilgrimages, really imagine ourselves being shaped by something other than us, so that we can be fully open? So I'll probably use some of these stones, but it looks like I'm going to need more. And so that's another really good reminder on our pilgrimage that we're never really done. We don't just all the time and everything in mind, because then it's all about us. And and it's not really a bad thing. So as I look around here, I say, well, here things have leveled out a little bit. And so I think we're going to go down here and begin to explore what might work for this new spiritual place to be built. So I'm walking here and I'm thinking, oh, this is really nice because now it's a little bit level. And that's always good. And there's some trees that could make it really interesting because, like, I'm imagining this labyrinth, and as many of you know, they're often a circle, and then there are pathways that you twist around because if our life were a straight line, it wouldn't be very interesting. But second of all, it's in the turns that you find the energy, where there's something new and something alive and something opening up to you. So can you imagine if we do this, that these trees, some of these larger trees, could be the turning point? So when I first started thinking about it, I thought, I'm going to get my map, the spiritual map in my brain. I'm going to lay this out. I'm going to get a big long rope and I'm going to move it around and look at this great tree over here, this double trunk tree. And so, that could be the focal point. So I started looking around with my map in mind and how I would place it here. And I thought, well, I'll get my string out and I'm going to lay this all out. And then I thought, no, actually, that's not allowing myself to be built into a spiritual house. That's taking my plan and setting it on top of with my ideas. So I was wandering here the other day and I came to this section. And this is a section that I think should be the center because this has a lot of energy in it. I mean, suddenly when you look at it, it has new life, it has decomposition, so new life is forming from that. We have the scattering of stones, and we have these twigs, we have the leaves, and it just seems to say, here I am. So I was standing here the other day, and I thought, what's really most important is if indeed I am going to be built into a spiritual house, if indeed I am going to open myself so that I can find that place of tenderness, that place of openness, of love and compassion and patience. That same thing we talked about last Sunday. I need to be centered, and I need to be solid, and I need to be open. So I thought, I'm going to just stand here in this spot and feel the energy and allow myself to be conformed, to be changed by the Spirit, to be opened up, so that I can become a living stone that is God can create something from. Because when we are open, when we are walking in the way of love, when we are paying attention to our spiritual practices, we are living the way and the truth and the life. It's not something that we're chasing after. It's not something that is to keep some people out and other people in. It is a way of a heart. And so I invite us as we walk this week to find our own places, that we can allow our hearts to be open, so that we can be shaped by God, pulled by the Holy Spirit, brought into the love and the example of Jesus, who so changed the world by his death on the cross. So I invite you to center yourself, allow yourself to be changed, allow yourself to be the way and the truth and the life, so that we can radiate out God's love into our world.